Have you ever felt overlooked or unappreciated by those who matter most to you? Does it seem as if your efforts go unnoticed or that you're not valued as you should be? If so, you're not alone. Many of us have faced similar struggles. But what if you could change this? What if there were ways to become a person others naturally value and prioritize in their lives? In this video, we will explore 10 Stoic rules for life that will not only transform your relationships, but also elevate your sense of self-worth. These rules, inspired by the wisdom of Stoicism, will guide you to live with more independence, confidence, and purpose. Stay with us until the end, as each principle is crucial for reshaping how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. Let's delve into these timeless principles of Stoicism and discover how they can make you the person others strive to have in their lives. If you found this content valuable, please like the video, subscribe to our channel for more insights on Stoicism, and share this video with others who may benefit from these timeless teachings. Thank you for joining us on this journey towards a more virtuous life. May you continue to live with wisdom, resilience, and tranquility. 1. Do not reveal everything. The power of mystery. Have you ever considered that revealing too much about yourself could diminish your appeal? In our desire to connect with others, we often feel the need to share every detail of our lives. Yet, Stoicism teaches that not all thoughts and experiences are meant to be exposed. There is wisdom in retaining an element of mystery. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, once said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." Think about this for a moment. If you are constantly sharing every thought, every feeling, then what space do you leave for others to wonder about you? What room is there for curiosity to grow? Life is like a story. If you reveal all its secrets in the first chapter, there will be little left to keep the reader's interest. The allure of the unknown. We are naturally drawn to that which is unknown or not easily accessible. Consider how you might react when someone you admire doesn't always share every detail of their life. Doesn't it make them seem more interesting, more worth your time? When you embody this principle and hold back certain aspects of your life, you create a sense of intrigue. Others will feel compelled to draw closer, to unravel the enigma that you have become. Ask yourself, are there parts of my life that I share too readily? Do I give away too much of myself in the hope of being understood or appreciated? If so, you may be diminishing your own value in the eyes of others. Be like a riddle. Life should be presented as a riddle or a puzzle, not an open book for all to read. In conversations, do not rush to explain every facet of who you are. Let others seek to understand you, to solve the mystery that you have subtly created. The more effort they put into this pursuit, the more they will value the relationship. Cleopatra's enduring allure, for instance, was not solely due to her beauty or power. It was her mysterious nature, the way she shrouded her intentions and thoughts, that drew powerful figures into her orbit. She understood that by not laying everything bare, she could maintain an air of intrigue that kept others captivated. Cultivate the Stoic art of discretion. In the practice of Stoicism, there is a virtue in restraint, not only in our actions, but in our words. Do not feel compelled to share every personal thought or experience. Instead, cultivate a habit of thoughtful disclosure. When you do choose to speak, let your words be meaningful and deliberate. What impact will this approach have on the relationships in your life? Will you find that people begin to see you as someone worth knowing, someone whose thoughts and feelings are not to be taken lightly? This is the power of mystery. It draws people closer, even as it maintains a healthy distance. Reflect on your own life. How much do you give away freely, And what might happen if you practiced greater restraint? Could you become more compelling, more valued by those around you? Mystery is not about deception, but about creating a space for others to be intrigued and engaged. It is about letting them invest in understanding you rather than presenting everything on a platter. Let your life unfold like a story that others are eager to follow. The art of discretion can transform your presence into something that others cherish, not because you are inaccessible, but because you are captivating. Next, let us move to the idea of value. What happens when we begin to view ourselves as irreplaceable? 2. Create a fear of losing you. Establish your worth. Why is it that we only truly appreciate things when they are no longer accessible to us? It's a flaw in human nature to overlook what is easily obtained. However, when we sense that something or someone could be taken away, our perspective changes. In your relationships, how often do you make your value known? Do others recognize that losing you would be significant? The importance of self-sufficiency. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own mind and actions. By embodying this principle, you become a person who is not dependent on others for your sense of worth. Your life is a fulfilling journey in itself, not defined by the presence or absence of someone else. When people see that you are self-sufficient, they understand that being part of your life is not an entitlement, but a privilege. Ask yourself, how do you perceive your own value? Do you see yourself as an essential part of other people's lives, or merely an option among many? Your perspective will shape how others treat you. If you treat yourself as indispensable, others will begin to see you that way. Don't be afraid to withdraw. Sometimes, it is only when we remove ourselves from a situation that others realize our significance. Like a rare artifact, your value becomes evident when people recognize that you will not always be available. Are there relationships in your life where you feel undervalued? Consider stepping back and allowing others to experience your absence. This is not about playing games, it's about fostering genuine appreciation. Reflect on historical examples where absence intensified desire. Think of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak during Apple's early years. Wozniak's contributions were pivotal, and Jobs recognized that losing such talent would have been detrimental. It was through supporting and amplifying Wozniak's unique talents that Jobs ensured their partnership remained strong. The balance of independence and connection. In practicing Stoicism, it is crucial to maintain your autonomy while engaging with others. You are not merely an accessory to someone else's story, you are the protagonist of your own. Live in such a way that others understand you do not need them for your happiness, but rather you choose to share your happiness with them. Would others put in the effort to keep you in their lives if they sensed that your presence was not guaranteed? Do they value you as they should, or have you made yourself too easily accessible? Creating a fear of losing you does not mean instilling anxiety in others, but rather helping them recognize your worth through your actions and self-respect. Be an irreplaceable presence in their lives, someone whose absence would be felt deeply. This approach will transform how others perceive and prioritize you. As we proceed, consider how your happiness is formed. Is it something you create for yourself, or do you rely on others to complete you? 3. Create your own happiness. The source lies within. Happiness is often sought from external sources, relationships, material possessions, or even social status. But Stoicism teaches that true happiness is cultivated from within. The things you acquire, or the people you surround yourself with, may bring temporary pleasure, but genuine contentment comes from mastering your own thoughts and desires. The Stoic path to inner contentment. Seneca advised that true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Reflect on these words. How often do you find yourself waiting for someone or something to make you happy? When you place your well-being in the hands of others, you become vulnerable to their actions and moods. To create your own happiness, start by nurturing a sense of fulfillment that does not rely on external circumstances. Pursue activities and passions that bring you joy, independent of others. When you find satisfaction within yourself, you not only become less reliant on the validation of others, but you also become a more attractive presence. Living with zest and purpose. Consider historical figures like Theodore Roosevelt, who, despite personal tragedies, found joy and purpose through a vigorous life of adventure and public service. His happiness was not contingent upon others. It was a force cultivated within him through his actions. How can you incorporate such resilience into your own life? When you create your happiness, you set an example for others. You become a beacon of positivity, inspiring those around you to seek fulfillment in their own lives. Do you strive to be such an example, or do you wait for circumstances to align before allowing yourself to be happy? Cultivate an inner source of happiness that remains unshaken by the turbulence of life. By finding joy within, you radiate a positive energy that naturally draws others closer. Your contentment becomes a testament to your inner strength, a core principle of Stoicism. The next principle explores the idea of making others invest in you. How much do you allow others to contribute to your life, and how does this affect their perception of you? 4. Be costly and let them invest in you. The value of effort. How often do you give away your time and attention without expecting much in return? In our eagerness to connect with others, we may overlook the importance of effort and investment. The principle of being costly isn't about arrogance, but about recognizing your worth and allowing others to earn their place in your life. Why should something valuable be freely given away without any effort from others? Stoicism teaches us to recognize our own value and not to treat it lightly. The effort and attachment principle. There is a truth that we often ignore. What is easily gained is often lightly valued. Consider the things you have worked hard for in your life. Aren't they the ones you appreciate the most? The same applies to relationships. When others invest their time, emotions, and energy into you, they form a deeper attachment. It's not about being difficult for the sake of it, but about understanding that your worth is something that deserves to be acknowledged and pursued. Reflect on this. When was the last time you allowed someone to truly invest in getting to know you? Have you made yourself too accessible, expecting little in return? Ask yourself if this approach has led others to take your presence for granted. Understanding your own worth. A fundamental Stoic concept is recognizing what is within your control. Your value is within your control. When you set the standard for how others should treat you, you communicate that you are not just anyone. You are a person of substance. Think about how you present yourself in your relationships. Are you showing that your time is valuable and that it requires effort to earn your full attention? Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." This analogy reminds us that value emerges through effort and challenges. Just as precious stones are refined through persistent polishing, relationships grow stronger when people have to earn their place in your life. If you make things too easy, you deny others the opportunity to truly appreciate your worth. Historical examples of being costly. Let's consider the relationship between Aristotle and Alexander the Great. Aristotle was not simply a tutor who imparted knowledge without expectation. His teachings were a treasure that Alexander had to pursue. Aristotle did not make his wisdom easily accessible. It was through earnest effort and time that Alexander came to appreciate the depth of his mentor's insights. This relationship wasn't built on easy accessibility, but on a challenging journey toward wisdom and growth. By being costly, you aren't withholding yourself out of spite or manipulation. You are providing an opportunity for others to grow through their investment in you. Are you allowing others to experience this, or are you giving too freely without expectation? The art of mutual investment. Mutual respect and investment are the foundations of strong relationships. When you allow others to invest in you, you create a dynamic where both parties are actively contributing. This is not one-sided, but a shared journey where effort is reciprocated. What does it look like when both people in a relationship understand that they must work to earn each other's trust and attention? Stoicism emphasizes living virtuously and with purpose. When you demand effort from others, you are not acting out of selfishness, but from a place of self-respect. You are demonstrating that you understand your value and that meaningful connections are built on effort and commitment. How would your relationships change if you approached them with this mindset? By allowing others to invest in you, you increase your value in their eyes. You are not just a fleeting interest, but a cherished presence that they will strive to maintain. Let people experience the worth of your time and effort, and watch as your relationships transform from superficial connections to deeply valued bonds. Now, let us turn to the idea of maintaining individuality. What happens when you choose not to make others the center of your life? 5. Don't make them the center of your life. Preserve your individuality. In our desire to nurture relationships, we may fall into the trap of making another person the focal point of our existence. But Stoicism teaches us that it is crucial to retain our independence and identity, no matter the nature of the relationship. By living your life as a whole and complete individual, you maintain your value and prevent unhealthy attachments. The dangers of over-reliance. Have you ever noticed how relationships can become suffocating when one person relies too heavily on the other for happiness or fulfillment? When you make someone the center of your world, you give them immense power over your emotions and well-being. Is it wise to place your sense of self entirely in someone else's hands? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe." This harmony is achieved through a balance between our internal and external worlds. When you keep your own dreams, goals, and pursuits alive, you do not lose yourself in the presence of another. Instead, you bring more to the relationship, a sense of purpose and individuality that enriches both your life and theirs. Living as an independent person. Imagine your life as a vast landscape with many paths. Are you walking a path chosen solely because it aligns with someone else's journey, or are you navigating your own course? By pursuing your personal interests, passions, and ambitions, you maintain a sense of autonomy. This autonomy does not mean you are detached or indifferent. It means you bring a well-rounded self into every relationship. Consider Isaac Newton, who, despite his many groundbreaking contributions to science, maintained a life filled with varied interests and personal endeavors. His achievements were not defined solely by others' expectations, but by his own pursuit of knowledge. In what ways are you pursuing your own goals, and how might they enhance your relationships? Maintaining balance in relationships. When you avoid making others the center of your life, you keep a healthy balance in your relationships. You allow your partner, friend, or family member to complement your life rather than control it. This balance is key to fostering a dynamic where both people continue to grow individually while also growing together. What are some ways you can keep your life well-rounded, even while maintaining close relationships? Stoicism encourages us to recognize what we can control: our actions, thoughts, and goals. By focusing on these aspects, you prevent yourself from being consumed by others' opinions or demands. Ask yourself, Do I keep a part of my life separate from my relationships, something that is mine alone? How does this practice contribute to my well-being and growth? The attraction of an autonomous spirit. There is something inherently attractive about a person who has their own life, passions, and goals. It signals that you are not dependent on others for fulfillment, making your presence in their life a complement rather than a necessity. When you bring this sense of independence into your relationships, you inspire others to pursue their own growth and happiness. How would your relationships change if you approached them with a mindset of shared growth rather than dependency? Would it lead to a deeper appreciation and respect from those around you? Your life should not orbit solely around another person. It should be a constellation of pursuits, passions, and personal growth. By living with a sense of individuality, you contribute to a relationship where both parties thrive. Keep your goals alive, pursue your dreams, and inspire others to do the same. As we continue, reflect on your own needs. Are you putting yourself first, or are you constantly compromising your well-being? 6. Prioritize your own needs. First, self-respect is non-negotiable. How often do you find yourself neglecting your own needs to accommodate someone else's? Stoicism reminds us to practice self-respect and to recognize our own value in every interaction. Prioritizing your own needs is not selfish. It is essential for maintaining a healthy, balanced life where you are treated with the respect you deserve. The Stoic approach to self-respect. In Stoic thought, true strength comes from within. Your self-worth is not determined by how others treat you, but by how you perceive and care for yourself. Do you set clear boundaries, or do you allow others to dictate your actions and feelings? The way you treat yourself establishes the standard for how others will treat you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them." Consider this. If you constantly place others' needs above your own, are you not allowing your self-judgment to be clouded by external events? Your primary duty is to yourself, to ensure that your actions reflect your value. The importance of setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is a fundamental act of self-respect. It is not about pushing others away, but about establishing limits that protect your well-being. Reflect on your life. How often do you say yes when you want to say no? How frequently do you compromise your own needs for the sake of others? Setting boundaries communicates to those around you that your time and emotions are not to be taken for granted. In Stoicism, we learn that our perception shapes our experience. When you perceive yourself as deserving of respect and care, you begin to act accordingly. How would your life change if you set boundaries that prioritized your own well-being? Embracing the courage to walk away. Sometimes, prioritizing your needs means having the courage to walk away from situations or relationships that do not serve you. This does not mean you should avoid challenges, but rather that you should not tolerate conditions that undermine your worth. The Roman general Lucius Quinctius Cincinnatus, for example, returned to his farm after serving Rome, choosing a simple life over the allure of power because he prioritized his principles over external validation. Are there aspects of your life where you need to step back and reassess whether your needs are being met? Do you have the courage to walk away if necessary? Your needs and well-being are not optional. They are essential for a fulfilling life. Practice self-respect by setting boundaries, valuing your time, and prioritizing your personal growth. In doing so, you will naturally attract those who understand and honor your worth. Next, let us consider the value of time. How does limiting your availability change the way others perceive you? 7. Don't be always available. Value your time and presence. How often do you find yourself responding immediately to every request or message, or dropping everything to be there for others at a moment's notice? While it may seem like an act of kindness, being constantly available can actually diminish the value of your presence. Stoicism teaches us to recognize the scarcity of time and to use it wisely. By being more selective about when and how you are available, you create a sense of value around your time. The principle of scarcity. In Stoic philosophy, time is seen as one of the most valuable resources. Once it is spent, it can never be regained. If you give away your time too easily, you may inadvertently signal that it is not valuable. Think about rare gems or unique works of art. They are not easily accessible, and this scarcity makes them more desirable. Your availability should be treated in the same way. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." In this context, it means that the fear of not being constantly available is often exaggerated. People may worry that others will perceive them as indifferent if they do not immediately respond or are not always ready to accommodate, but in reality, measured availability tends to increase appreciation for your presence. Ask yourself, are you too readily available? Have you noticed whether your constant presence makes others less appreciative of the time you spend together? The importance of balance. Being available doesn't mean you should isolate yourself or play games. It means valuing your time and recognizing that it is not a limitless resource. There is wisdom in setting boundaries regarding your availability, ensuring that you are not at the mercy of others' demands at all times. When you are more deliberate about when you give your time, you show others that you respect your own priorities. Reflect on your relationships. Do you find yourself consistently accommodating others at the expense of your own needs? Stoicism teaches that we must first take responsibility for our own lives before we can offer meaningful assistance to others. By setting clear limits on your availability, you encourage others to value the time they do get to spend with you. Creating a sense of anticipation. Have you ever noticed that when something is not always available, it becomes more desirable? This principle applies not only to material things, but also to personal relationships. If you are always present, there is no need for others to prioritize time with you, as they assume you will always be there. However, when you make your availability more limited, you create a sense of anticipation. Think of historical figures such as Ada Lovelace, a brilliant mathematician and one of the first computer programmers. She was not perpetually accessible to her contemporaries, but when she did contribute, it was with profound impact. Her time and insights were valuable because they were not freely given. Her selective availability only added to the allure of her intellect and made her contributions all the more appreciated. Ask yourself, how could you change your life if you made your time more precious? Would the quality of your interactions improve if you were more selective about when you engaged with others? The art of deliberate absence. Stoicism often teaches the value of retreat and reflection. When you step away from the constant noise and demands of everyday life, you gain the opportunity to reflect, recharge, and refocus. This time away is not only beneficial for your personal growth, but also makes your return more meaningful to others. Just as silence can make a conversation more profound, your absence can make your presence more significant. Would taking time away from constant interaction allow you to cultivate a deeper sense of purpose? How might your relationships change if you learn to be deliberately absent at times, creating space for anticipation and appreciation to grow? By valuing your time and being selective about your availability, you create a dynamic where others are more likely to appreciate and prioritize your presence. Remember, your time is a precious resource, and how you choose to spend it reflects your understanding of its true worth. Let's now explore the principle of communication. How can altering the way you initiate conversations influence the dynamics of your relationships? 8. Stop starting the conversation all the time. Foster balance in communication. Do you often find yourself being the one who always initiates contact with friends, family, or partners? While taking the initiative is a valuable trait, doing so constantly can create an imbalance in relationships where the other person might start taking you for granted. Stoicism advises us to maintain equilibrium in our interactions, and to recognize that reciprocity is essential for healthy relationships. The value of reciprocity. In any meaningful relationship, both parties should feel that they are making an equal effort to communicate and connect. If you are always the one starting conversations, it may signal that you are too eager or that you do not have other meaningful pursuits to occupy your time. What message are you sending if you are constantly reaching out while the other person remains passive? By taking a step back and allowing the other person to initiate conversations, you give them the opportunity to demonstrate their interest and commitment to the relationship. This does not mean that you should become distant or indifferent, but that you should allow for a more balanced exchange. Ask yourself, are you always the one who initiates contact? If so, have you noticed whether this pattern affects the quality or depth of your relationships? Creating space for others to reach out. When you pause and give others the space to initiate, it helps clarify the nature of the relationship. Are they willing to make an effort to reach out, or do they become distant when you step back? This can be a revealing indicator of whether the relationship is built on mutual respect and effort, or is sustained mainly by your actions. Marcus Aurelius noted, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." Applied to communication, this means not overextending yourself in pursuit of someone's attention. If you always take the lead, it may enable the other person to put in minimal effort. Creating space for others to reach out encourages them to step up, leading to a more balanced dynamic. Reflect on your interactions. Do you allow others the opportunity to miss your presence and reach out, or do you fill every gap with your own effort? The power of silence. In Stoicism, silence is not merely the absence of speech. It is an active state of reflection and self-control. There is value in allowing moments of quiet to occur within your relationships. When you stop filling every silence with conversation, you create room for others to share their thoughts or initiate contact. This fosters a dynamic where both parties feel equally invested in maintaining the relationship. Ask yourself, are there times when silence could serve a purpose in your relationships? How can you use this quietness to create a deeper understanding and appreciation between you and others? Empowering others to take initiative. When you step back and allow someone else to start a conversation, you empower them to express their interest and effort. It may feel uncomfortable at first if you are accustomed to always being the one who reaches out, but this shift can strengthen relationships. It provides others the opportunity to show that they value your connection enough to take the first step. If they do not initiate, it may be a sign that the relationship requires re-evaluation. Stoicism teaches us to be honest with ourselves about the nature of our relationships and not to cling to those that do not reciprocate our efforts. Would taking a step back help you better understand the value others place on your relationship? Fostering balance in communication allows you to see relationships for what they truly are. By not always being the one to initiate, you create space for others to demonstrate their commitment. This practice not only nurtures mutual respect, but also deepens the bond through shared effort. Let's now reflect on emotional balance. How can practicing restraint in your emotional attachments make you a stronger presence in others' lives? 9. Don't be too emotionally attached. Practice emotional resilience. Attachment is a natural human tendency, but when it becomes excessive, it can lead to unnecessary suffering and imbalance in relationships. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of maintaining emotional resilience and self-control. It teaches us to approach our emotions with a sense of detachment, not to suppress them, but to manage them wisely. The virtue of emotional balance. Have you ever felt that your emotions dictate your actions, leading you to overreact or feel overwhelmed? Stoicism reminds us that while emotions are part of the human experience, they should not dominate our thoughts or behaviors. The Stoic practice is to observe our emotions without allowing them to control us. This approach encourages us to act with reason and self-respect, rather than impulsively. Reflect on your emotional responses. Do they often cloud your judgment or lead to actions that you later regret? Are you able to maintain a sense of inner peace even when confronted with challenging situations? Understanding the consequences of overattachment. When you become too emotionally attached, you place the burden of your happiness and well-being on external factors. This can lead to a sense of dependency and insecurity, which in turn can make you appear less confident and less appealing to others. What would happen if you practiced a degree of emotional detachment, where your self-worth is not tied to another person's actions or opinions? Seneca advised, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." This wisdom can be applied to all strong emotions. By taking a moment to pause and reflect before reacting, you create space for rational thought. This practice allows you to respond to situations with a sense of calmness and control, demonstrating that your emotions are not easily swayed by external circumstances. Cultivating inner strength. Emotional resilience does not mean being indifferent. It means having the strength to remain composed regardless of what happens around you. When you practice emotional detachment, you empower yourself to navigate life's challenges without being overwhelmed by them. This inner strength is a cornerstone of Stoicism and an essential quality for living a life of virtue. Would practicing emotional detachment make you more resilient in the face of adversity? How might this resilience affect your relationships, making you a stronger and more stable presence? The appeal of a balanced emotional state. When you maintain an emotional balance, you project a sense of stability and confidence. People are naturally drawn to those who exude calmness and composure because it signals that you are in control of your own life. This balanced approach to emotions fosters healthier relationships, where both parties feel respected and valued for who they are, not for the roles they are expected to fulfill. Are there areas in your life where you could practice greater emotional restraint? How would this influence the way others perceive and interact with you? Practicing emotional detachment allows you to remain grounded and resilient in all of life's situations. By managing your emotions with wisdom, you cultivate a sense of inner peace and strength that positively influences your relationships. Remember, emotional resilience is a form of self-respect. Finally, let us turn to the importance of knowing when to walk away. How does the ability to step back from relationships that do not serve you reflect your inner strength and self-worth? 10. Be willing to walk away from them. Know your worth and set boundaries. One of the most empowering actions you can take in life is knowing when to walk away from relationships or situations that do not honor your worth. It can be difficult to let go, especially when there are emotional ties, but Stoicism teaches us to prioritize our own well-being and maintain our self-respect above all else. The courage to let go. Why do we often hold on to relationships that do not bring us joy or fulfillment? Fear of the unknown, fear of loneliness, or simply the habit of familiarity can keep us bound to situations that do not serve our growth. But Stoicism encourages us to recognize that we have control over our own actions, and that includes the choice to step away when necessary. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle reminds us that while we cannot control how others behave, we can control our response and choose to distance ourselves when our values are compromised. Establishing boundaries and self-respect. Setting boundaries is not about closing yourself off from others. It's about creating a space where you are treated with the respect you deserve. When others consistently fail to meet your standards or show a lack of appreciation, it is not an act of insensitivity to walk away. It is an act of self-care. Ask yourself, are there relationships in your life that continually leave you feeling undervalued? Do you have the strength to step back if it means preserving your sense of self-respect? The power of detachment. Walking away does not have to be a dramatic or confrontational act. It can be a quiet, resolute decision to distance yourself from that which no longer aligns with your path. When you practice detachment, you recognize that your well-being is not dependent on any one person or situation. You understand that your value is inherent, not determined by external validation. Would your life be more fulfilling if you let go of relationships that consistently fail to support your growth? How might your sense of peace improve by releasing these burdens? Being willing to walk away is a powerful declaration of your self-worth. It demonstrates that you value yourself enough to let go of relationships that do not bring you joy or respect. Remember, you have the power to choose who belongs in your life. We have explored 10 Stoic rules for life, each designed to help you cultivate a stronger sense of self and create more meaningful relationships. These principles emphasize the importance of valuing your time, maintaining emotional balance, setting boundaries, and recognizing your worth. They teach you to live with purpose and to prioritize your own needs while fostering healthy connections with others. Now, it's time for you to take action. Reflect on these principles and share your commitment to living a life inspired by Stoicism in the comments. Which rule resonates most with you? Are there relationships you need to reevaluate or boundaries you need to establish? If you found these insights valuable, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this content with others who could benefit from Stoic wisdom. Your support helps us continue to bring meaningful content to the community. Thank you for watching. May you live each day with strength, wisdom, and the courage to walk your own path. If you found these insights valuable, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this content with others who could benefit from Stoic wisdom. Your support helps us continue to bring meaningful content to the community. Thank you for watching. May you live each day with strength, wisdom, and the courage to walk your own path.